Making fireworks involves highly volatile materials, so workers are spread apart in these small buildings to prevent a chain reaction in case something explodes. These structures are made with thick concrete walls and thin wooden rooftops, so if there's an accident, the blast will blow upward, not outward. Inside, workers mix up a batch of stars, the component inside the firework that gives it its flash of color and light. Stars are just one of the three basic parts found inside the shell of a typical aerial firework. There's also a bursting charge, a tube of black powder in the center of the shell that spreads the stars outward when ignited, and a lift charge, the charge that launches the shell into the sky. This black powder or gunpowder is the base ingredient for almost all stars. But when you mix in metal salts with the black powder, you add color to the burst. Copper oxide and strontium carbonate create a purple color. Barium nitrate produces a green hue.
It is green!
After the pyrotechnicians thoroughly sift through the combustible mixture to remove any lumps, they wheel it to the next bunker where they add water to bind the chemicals together. Here, they knead the water and powder into a dough. The technicians then pack the dough firmly with a wooden mallet, wood because it doesn't create any sparks, and shape it into a 35-pound loaf around 1.5 inches thick. Then they slice and dice the loaves into small pellet-sized pieces, which are the stars.
So when we see the firework go off in the sky, this is like one of the streamers that comes out from the center?
It will be one of the visual effects.
So this really is like a handcrafted art here.
The entire process of manufacturing fireworks is hand craftsmanship.
That's because any electrical tools or machinery would be too dangerous to use around this material. These little stars are like mini black powder kegs. One spark could blow the roof off this place. After workers finish forming the stars, they lay them out in the open air to dry. Again, an electrical heater could cause an explosion. Meanwhile, in a separate building nearby, workers are busy creating these sound charges. These charges give fireworks their thunderous boom, and they're made from a highly explosive mix of chemicals called flash powder. Simply dropping, banging, or mishandling flash powder can cause it to ignite. So in the interest of safety, our cameras were not allowed to film these charges being assembled.
This will give the big boom at the end of the shell.
That's awesome.
First, a worker attaches a time delay fuse to the sound charge and wraps it in craft paper. Next, he carefully places stars, the components that give the firework its visual effect, inside the paper shell.
Fill it up with stars. Just hand place them right around the edge.
Okay, so when this blows, there's hundreds of these things that are shooting out of the shell.
Yeah, just everywhere. What I do next, after I get the stars in there, we move over here. We take this high explosive black powder, okay? And this is really powerful. We put that down the tube, pull the tube out. That helps light the stars also. And I take the time delay fuse, fold the paper over, then we take a second disc, put right over the top. Get it on there. And there's a finished tube.
That looks so beautiful. So this string is going to compress or hold it together for just a little bit longer.
Right. If you take black powder and lay it on the ground, it'll just basically fizzle. But if you compact it tighter and tighter, you're going to make a much stronger, more effective shell.
Workers not only spike the shells with string, they layer each one with a heavy, damp paste coat paper. When the paper dries, it hardens, forming a strong seal that compresses the explosives even tighter for a more dynamic burst. So now each firework is tightly packed with effects. But what will it take to launch one of these hundreds of feet into the sky? The answer? Fuses. Each firework typically has at least 3 fuses: a main fuse, a side fuse, and a time delay fuse. The main fuse sits at the top of the firework. This is what ignites first. Once ignited, it lights the other 2 fuses. The fast-burning side fuse, which races to the bottom of the firework and ignites the lift charge, propelling the firework hundreds of feet into the air. And finally, the time delay fuse buried inside the shell. It ignites the burst charge once the shell reaches a predetermined point in the sky. To connect the fuses, workers first punch a hole through the time release fuse. This is one of the more dangerous moments in the process because any friction could spark the fuse and ignite the shell. Then they insert the side fuse. Again, this runs the length of the firework to ignite the lift charge at the bottom.
As you saw when he put the side fuse on, he left approximately 10 inches of craft paper longer than the firework itself, so that he can take black powder, place it in the bottom, and that black powder will lift that shell straight out of the mortar about 500 feet in the air, and then start to create the different multi-break effects.
So how much black powder do you put down here?
Approximately an ounce per pound.
Really? So if we put 10 pounds of this black powder underneath me, you could lift me to 500
Well, it may take a
feet?
few more ounces than that, but I think
What
we
do you
could.
say?
I think we certainly could. And when he's done doing that, he'll then take the leader, put it in the top, and the leader will be what ignites the firework.
Okay, so it's igniting the fuse that's gonna make this burst 3 or 4 seconds from now, and it's lighting the thing that shoots it into the
All
air.
simultaneous.
Okay.
The shape and size of the shells and the placement of the stars inside produce not just the variety of colors, but also the patterns the firework makes when it explodes.
So what is this basketball thing? Why are these things all different shapes like this?
This is actually a Chinese ball shell. It's a 6-inch double ring shell. So basically, inside is actually particular patterns such as ring, heart, star, diamond, and such.
Okay.
And here's a cutaway of that. And as you can see, if you take the marble-shaped stars and put them in a ring,
Right.
when it opens up, you'll get a perfect ring.
Workers are preparing to launch more than 10,000 pyrotechnics at a baseball stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's taken months to manufacture these fireworks, all for a display that will be over in just 20 minutes. Designers planned the entire show on a computer that simulates every single explosion.
This is a choreography software that we use, and actually this software will actually help me aid the design of the show. Down here is the wave file, which actually shows the music of the display, okay? And say I want a shell right here at this high point of the music, I'll put a shell there, and when I place it, the computer will actually back time it, because we have to lift time before you see the color. At that point, I want it to break and I want to see the color, so the computer will back time it, like 3.2 seconds, depending upon what size of shell we're doing. So they see the color in the sky at the exact point in time.
So do you have a giant catalog of all the shells that are possible and all
we
their
have a list.
times?
Right, our inventory list is extensive and it's all in the software. We can actually import it with the background of the scene of what their audience is going to see, and we can actually physically watch the display.
So I looked at the forecast and it says we might have rain tonight. Does that affect the fireworks show?
It's actually not going to affect us by any means, because we get everything set up, everything's covered in plastic, and everything's foiled over, so we don't have to worry about rain. We prepare for everything all the time.
And you just launch rain or shine?
Launch, rain, or shine, always. The show's always got to go.
Hours before the display begins, crews check every circuit to make sure everything is working correctly. But some things are beyond their control. Lightning or a stray spark could accidentally ignite a fuse. High humidity can render the fireworks' black powder useless. Wind is also a factor because a strong gust could send a firework toward the crowd.
Yeah, the little yellow and the green one are flash, and the blue is constant.
As the baseball game heads into the 9th inning, the crew springs into action. The moment the game ends, they'll have exactly 12 minutes to set up 3 launching areas on the field and connect them all back to the main network positioned behind home plate. Now the race is on. Workers scramble to set up over 100 separate mortar launching tubes on the playing field before the crowd grows restless. When the lights go down, it's time to start the show. Months of preparation boil down to this moment.